Welcome to Contractor Cuts, where we cover the good, the bad, and the ugly of growing a successful contracting company.
Welcome to Contractor Cuts. My name is Clark Turner.
And I'm James McConnell.
Thank you for joining us again this week. So today we are diving deep to start the almost full year series of diving into our 7 steps of our operating system. We covered it last week, talking through all 7 steps of the operating system and the importance of it. And really the operating system for us is how companies actually function. It's what you're currently doing. It's how we structure it so you can duplicate yourself and grow. When we're looking at the operating system itself, really there's 7 steps that we covered last week. It's the vision and structure, the role definition, core process documentation, marketing and client acquisition, financial metrics, hiring playbook, and then duplication and scalability.
Bing, bang, bing, bang.
That's all 7 of them. So with that being said, one thing that we like to kind of circle on this is everybody does these things. Everyone's got this stuff. Today we're covering the first 2 steps, which is vision and structure, as well as job description. Everyone has it. Everyone's got a vision of where they're going. I can ask you, why did you start your company? Where's it going? And you can tell me most likely. Like you can say, well, I hope by next year I have a couple employees and I'm doing a couple million and blah, blah, blah. Like you kind of know where you want to go when you start a company. You kind of, what's your job descriptions? Well, normally I'm doing estimates usually on nights and weekends. Most of the days I'm out working or I'm running crews. I'm doing whatever your job role is. You can tell me what your job is. You don't have a written job description. So what does that mean? How do we do that? How do we make it for duplication and growth? And then you go in like number 3, which is our largest really category of anything in this, which is our core process documentation. We have 8 different processes that you have to have documented that you can duplicate, train, and grow on. And so that's really the bulk. So today we're covering number 1 and 2, vision and structure, as well as job description. Next week, we're going to start diving deep into number 3, which is core process documentation. We're going to spend a couple weeks there, really define it depending on what level of company you're at, whether you're a one-man show kind of getting started or you've got multiple employees and you're trying to really duplicate and rebuild the plane midair so you can keep growing the company. So we're going to cover all of those over a few weeks and kind of deep dive into some of them of making sure that it's set up. Operating system, though, is not something magical or new, right? Everyone's got one, and for what you're doing, our goal is that what we say, 80% of it, you're like, yeah, I've got that. The last 20% is how do we make it duplicatable? And that's what the coaching side is. That's what we come in and help you with in terms of if you partner with us in ProStruct 360 as coaches, as really coming into the software or just getting, whether it's the foundations or the growth or the executive level of our coaching, our goal is to really get you to 100% in all these. Is we need to have a defined vision and it needs to make sense. We need to have structure in the company and where you're going so we can start building those job descriptions so you can hire people into those jobs. We need to have the core process documentation because that's how we train people. We get it out of your brain, like the core process, what we call our 10-step process, which is from intake to final invoice with a customer. You do all of that stuff. Yeah. How do we document it? How do we write it down? How do we make it trainable? And how do we make it to where there's checks and balances and I can have someone out there representing my company where I still have full trust and control that the job sites are going to run the same way. So,
when you were talking about the vision statement just a minute ago, you're like, everybody has one. It's like on a good day, everybody's got those days where they're like, man, I'm banging on all 8. I know exactly where we're going. I know this, I know that. The vision statement, I think, is really helpful for the days in between the good days that you don't have a lot of clarity and there's a lot of ambiguity in the day-to-day. And it's like that's the spot where you can lean back into your vision statement and use it as a tool instead of just this thing that's like, we got a vision statement. We wrote it on the wall or whatever. Yeah,
and a vision statement is not a woo-hoo, look at us, let's use this for marketing. It can be. You can use it for that. But the goal of, everyone's got a vision, not everyone has a vision statement where they've actually put it pen to paper on it and thought through it and spent time on it. And when I talk to a lot of guys, the one man shows that are like, yeah, I get it. I know where I'm going. Like, I don't need to spend an hour figuring this out. Like, I'm good. Like, you're right. You don't need to. You can keep running how you're doing it. But the real growth is when you start acting like the companies that you want to become, right? Like,
Dress for the job you want.
dress for the job you want. And a lot of like, there's a lot of like imposter syndrome feeling, or like, I'm not there yet. I don't need to do that. The truth of it is, it's you act the way that you want to be, and you start becoming that, right? If I want to be a more respectful person to my wife, and I'm just acting that way, that just becomes second nature. That's who I am, right? If you want something and want to grow to something with your company, you have to put everything in place before you get there. You don't get there and arrive and start hiring and get to $5 million a year and then figure out what our processes are. It doesn't work that way. Like, you have to start defining this stuff as before you grow and acting bigger than you feel. And that's how you kind of build the foundation, and then we can grow on top of it. So diving into the vision and structure, what does this mean? What does vision and structure mean? Talking about when we're looking at a vision statement, and we're going to kind of cover what that is and what that should look like. Your vision statement is, a lot of people look 5 years from now, this is where we're going to be. And I like that. And I want that to be part of the structure. I like a 2 to 3 year plan. 5 years from now, like, think back 5 years, like 2021. My life was different, and what I'm doing now looks so much different.
Man, we were just off of COVID's coattails.
Yeah.
I mean,
and 5 years before that, 2016, right? Like, 5 years has a lot of life and growth in it, so it's very difficult to lay out 5 years. What I like about thinking 5 years out is North Star. I know I want to go this direction. I know I need to be that way. So when I'm looking at a vision statement, I like a 3-year plan with a really executable 1-year plan. But 1 year vision has to be locked in. What am I doing? Because what we did on the retreat is, this is our 1 year plan, and then we break it down to, okay, if I'm going to get there, what's Q1? Quarter one, by April 1st, what's success look like? So if I want to get X, Y, and Z done, I got to at least do X by quarter one so I can start on Y in quarter two.
Yeah.
And so we lay that out, and that vision is making our decisions of where we're spending our extra time. When guys say, hey, I want to work on my company, not in my company, I'm like, cool. Are you time blocking? Do you got a space that you're actually spending 2 hours doing that? Like, yeah. Friday mornings. What do you do Friday mornings? Well, I sit down, I kind of check emails, I start responding to estimates. I follow, and like, no, you're working in your company. Like, you're not working on it. What we're trying to do as coaching, as consultants, is define what you should be working on now before next week. And next week is a different bite of the elephant. So we're working on that. And the following week, let's be working on that. And so the whole goal is work on what you need to work on now. Let's not work on 6 months from now's problems. Let's work on today's problems so we can start building that foundation. That being said, looking at the vision statement, a 1 year to 3 year vision statement is what I'm going for. A 3 year vision statement with a 1 year goal. A vision statement, I wrote this out, is a clear picture of what you want your company to become over time. It's the future you're building, written in a way that gives you and your team a target to aim at when decisions get hard. Right. So a vision statement is, this is what we're all committed to, especially if you have a partnership, if you and your wife are running it, if you and your buddy have 50-50 in the company, if you got employees, especially if you got employees. This is buy-in from everybody to understand what's in your head that is just assumed of how we do things. The vision statement is, this is what I believe we're going to do together. Do you all agree? Do you buy into that? Do you think this is achievable? What?
This is what we're doing. You guys agree? Do you guys like that?
Am I good enough for you?
Is it good? Can someone tell me that they love me and I'm their son?
So it's getting that buy-in, though. Where one thing that we talk about, we did on the retreat, on the leadership breakout session with the executive level guys, was talking about our vision for the company and our measure of success is different than our employees. Our employees, or our, anyone that's working for us, their vision of success is, we're part of that journey for them, but our journey is not their success. My company hitting $10 million doesn't mean my employee is successful. It means for him, success is I want to execute X, Y, and Z. I want to be here. I want to raise. I need to get to 6 figures at some point in the next 3 years for my pay. Like there's a different measure of success for that. And so a vision statement is saying, hey, we're all agreeing like this is where we're going and this is success for the company. One thing we want with a vision statement is for it to be written, shared, and reinforced. I want you to write it down. I want you to show it to your coach. I want you to show it to a business partner, your wife, your husband. Have some sort of buy-in from someone else that keeps us accountable. As entrepreneurs, we got the shiny ball syndrome and we just see something like, oh, that'd be cool. Oh, that's great. Let's run after that. Oh, I'm going to start that. What we want is this to be a filter for us, a checks and balances for us. So the vision statement is written, it's shared with someone. Ideally, if you're in coaching with us, you share it with us and we talk through it. We help refine it. And we also say, okay, we're going to use this as our rules of engagement when you're trying to make decisions in the future. Your vision statement should describe the future in plain language, right? So who are you serving? What's your clientele? Like what's your ideal client? What you're known for, your reputation, your specialty. What is your company known for and why are you doing what you're doing? What kind of company you're building, like size, structure, culture, what's happening in this company, where's our end goal here? I want to expand to 5 different states in the next 5 years. By doing that, blah, 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 blah. I want to grow to be the number 1 remodeling company in the state of Georgia. I want to be the best company in Phoenix, Arizona, right? Whatever it is, the kind of company you're building. What success looks like, goals, capacity, lifestyle impact, and also include how it feels to run. So freedom, stability, clarity, stress levels. So we want to wrap all of that into a vision statement. I've got a very clear vision statement kind of outline. What'd you call it? Structure of how to write it?
A Mad Lib.
A Mad Lib. It's great. So it's we execute to blank.
Exist.
You're right.
We exist to
Why don't you
blank.
take
I'm not even doing this from memory, pal. I'm just reading.
We exist. I'm bad at reading and talking. Other than that, I'm amazing. All right. We exist to blank. And in the next blank years, we will become blank, which is who you'll be, by blank, actions to get there. So that blank, which is results you're known by. All right, that was confusing, especially if you're listening, you're driving down the road, you're like, yeah, that's a lot of blanks that don't make sense. So let me give you an example of one. We exist to deliver premium remodeling experiences, and in the next 3 years, we will become a focused, high-margin boutique builder by refining our systems, tightening our project selection, and building a dependable core team so that our work stays excellent, predictable, and profitable. That's a well-rounded statement, right? We exist to blank. We exist to deliver premium remodeling experiences. That's why we exist. That's what the company's doing. Premium remodeling experiences.
And so in using this like a tool, if you have a vision statement, you just basically take wherever you've input your blanks and you can say, am I doing this? Is the decision I'm making supporting our vision statement or is it not supporting it or detracting from it? And if it's rubbing up against your vision statement in a bad way, then you really need to think about what you're doing. And maybe you even take the job. Maybe you take the job that doesn't fit your vision statement because you need the money. That's going to happen. Yeah. But you need to at least be honest with yourself about, okay, I'm taking this job, and because it doesn't fit our vision, it might not fit the processes that you have.
Yeah.
So you might need to look at that job and say, what do we need to do differently here? Because it doesn't align with our vision. It doesn't align with our processes. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to bite the bullet. But you need to be able to have something in place to help you identify what are the gaps that you're going to need to fill because this isn't our regular thing.
Yep. I think like the statement that we just gave is very similar to a lot of guys that we coach. We exist to deliver premium remodeling experiences, and in the next 3 years, we will become a focused, high-margin boutique builder by refining our systems, tightening our project selection, and building a dependable core team so that work stays excellent, predictable, and profitable. That statement says in the next 3 years, we're going to tighten our project selections. So you're right. I might say yes to this job today because I don't have dollars to pay my bills next month, and that makes sense on a micro scale. On a macro, on a big picture, on the full year, this is going to be the last time I say yes to this type of job because we're going to move towards whatever my next move is. We look ahead on the operating system. Number 4 is marketing and client acquisition. This is going to tell us how we're going to market. I can hand this vision statement to my marketing team, and they can put together ads on Facebook that really target my demographic that I'm aiming for, what we do, why we're doing it, and that's going to start building what we're talking about, right? So everything we do in the future, my core process documentation, how we run our processes are going to reflect how this ends up. So a boutique, where was it? Boutique, high margin boutique builder has different processes than someone doing fix and flips and turns between tenants. Mm-hmm. Totally different processes. You have 2 different products that we're selling there. And so if you're not, I'm going to say no to that quick fix and flip that's low margin and in and out with a different level of finish and cruise than a high boutique builder, a high margin boutique builder. So by knowing this and looking at this, I'm filtering those decisions, right? I'm saying, you know what, I got an investor who's flipping an apartment complex. He wants us to go in. There's 100 units that we got to turn. It's about $12,000 per unit. But it's 120 grand. But I can go in there. I can churn it out. Great. That's an opportunity.
Yeah. And how long are you going to spend on that? Because if your actual vision is to be this high end boutique, whatever. Yeah. And you're going to be doing these flips. Well, you're spending all of that time not doing the thing that your vision statement says that you're going to do. And so not even are you not doing that, but the marketing that you get from doing those fix and the boutique, being able to do that job, have pictures of it, of the process, of the client review, you're not getting that either. Like that's a big opportunity cost that you're not thinking about when you're taking on this opportunity. You're doing away with this other opportunity that's actually going to grow you more opportunities.
Yeah, it's the way that contractors feel like they're doing the same thing year in and year out is because they're letting their opportunities that are presented to them guide the direction of their company. And so a year later, I feel like I'm in the same spot. Well, yeah, you spent 6 months flipping an apartment complex and you're trying to be a high-end. Of course you're in the same spot because that was 6 months of not working towards.
But you haven't even heard the name of the apartment complex.
It's
Magnolia Manor.
Oh, okay.
So
that's true.
Watch before you start saying stuff.
Apology accepted. No, so. When you're like, I get it. I need a vision. I need to say no to opportunities, but I need to pay my bills. And so I'm going to do it. And it's like, you have to understand when you're saying yes to an opportunity that doesn't align with your vision, that what's the opportunity cost on that? It's the time I'm spending. It's the next 4 months that I'm learning about codes for apartments versus the houses that I do. It's me learning about how to call in inspections and how to get around inspections on an apartment. It's me dealing with tenants that are turning over and on a 100-unit complex, and they've got 60% occupancy. How am I getting in there to do those? We're moving tenants between. Like, there's so many things that you're now having to deal with and get processes in that you'll never use again.
Hey, man, we got a problem over here at 3B. Iguana got loose. It was tenant's pet. Yeah. It was a 70-year-old iguana. Yeah. His name's Carlos. If you could just call for him.
Yeah. Well, and legit, you're spending your time doing that. And again, you need money. Great. Go get a job at Home Depot. Like when you're doing a job like that, it's a side gig. It's nights and weekends. It's waiting tables because I need dollars. That's different than building the restaurant that you're going to own is waiting tables at this other thing. And so that's okay. In growth, you're going to have to wait tables to pay the bills as we build this restaurant. But what I want you to do is as you're waiting tables, I want to peel off time and say, okay, let's talk about your restaurant. How are we getting the food in the back? How are we, what type of waiters and waitresses are we hiring? How are we getting the orders into the bar? What's the point of sale system that we're going to use here? What's the flatware that we're going to do? What's the table? Let's plan out that while you're waiting tables. And then let's start bringing one person at a time into that restaurant. Let's start seating them with that vision of where we're going. So it's okay that I'm saying yes to waiting tables as long as there's growth going towards your vision and not saying, hey, I'll continue building and planning out that restaurant in 6 months when I'm done waiting tables because I can make some money over here. Okay, that's just so you know you're going to go backwards 6 months by doing that. And if you're fine with that, that's great. Don't complain that you're not growing as a company because you're not. You're saying yes and you're collecting dollars. That doesn't help your company grow to independence, to duplicating, and where you're going. So,
But it's always hard though, is the doing. It always feels better than the planning.
Yeah.
Because when you're mapping all that stuff out, like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? What's this going to look like? It can be kind of demotivating because you're like, that's not where I am. I'm frustrated about that. This is obviously what I want to be doing. And so that's why breaking it off into those bite-sized pieces like you were talking about, it's like, I don't need to look at the full picture. I don't even want to look at the full picture.
Yeah.
I just know I need to work on this part. And it still, for me, is hard. It's still hard to like be working on the thing that I want to be doing because I just want to be doing that now.
And there is a big difference for entrepreneurs. Instant gratification, instant moving forward, getting stuff done feels, you get that dopamine hit as opposed to, well, I'm planning out my restaurant that's going to open in 6 months. In 6 months, this is going to feel real good, right? Like the hard work and the gains that companies that are passing you in growth is because they understand delayed gratification, that I don't have to get this today. But I will say, a very, very hard truth that guys don't want to hear or believe is that a lot of this, when guys come into coaching, is not about not knowing what to do or the direction they want to go. It's that they don't have confidence that they can do it, right? It's the guys that say, yeah, maybe I'll get into apartments. Maybe that could be something I can do well at.
I'll start another company.
Yeah, because it's like, well, I kind of hit my ceiling. I don't know what else to do here. And it's a confidence killer. I don't know what I'm... This kid that's 10 years younger than me surpassed me already, and he's now doing 5 million, and I'm stuck at 800,000. And like, he's been in business for 3 years, and I've been in it for 12. And I just like, that's the honest story that I get from guys when I finally let their guard down in coaching, and it's like, cool, great, that's where we're starting. But let me show you, like, you just need to know the next steps, and you need to zoom out of the weeds. I'm not smarter than you as a coach. I just have a non-emotional tie to your company to where I can be like, that's dumb and that's good and you need to do that. And why are you doing it this way? What if you tried it this way? And it's like getting out of the weeds and kind of a 30,000 foot view of your company. Like, yeah, I can do this. Now I see the next steps. And if we can build that confidence in yourself and the direction you're going, that's how you start delaying that gratification. That's how you start saying, you know what? I can do this, and I'm willing to bet on myself to say no to this job because I know if I run this way, I'm going to get more jobs in the future. But guys are scared to bet on themselves. I'm just going to say yes because I need this cash. I got to collect it. I don't trust that my future is actually going to happen, right? And so I think that's the hard part of this is helping, like, sorting through confidence versus lack of knowledge of next steps versus maybe you should be doing, like, maybe your brain and your company and your setup is best for flipping apartment complexes. That's a great industry. Like, let's build that. But let's not say yes to stuff because it's available. Let's say yes to stuff because it fits our vision statement. Mm-hmm. All right. Have we hammered this hard enough?
Let's go back to the beginning.
All right. So that's number one. Vision and structure is number one. The second part of vision and structure is
job roles.
Structure. We just talked about vision. We're going into structure. Job roles is next. Job roles is number two. So vision and structure at number one.
Trick question.
Sorry. I'll set you up better next time. The word between structure, vision, what is it? Vision.
And?
Structure. Yeah, you got it, James. Good job, man. You are on it.
It's an ampersand. It's not even a word.
All right. So structure. What does that mean? You know, when you sit down and we're like, all right, we start, hey, draw an org chart. Well, so it's just me. So I'm going to draw a big circle. There, I'm done with my org chart, right? Like, I'm the only person working here. The structure that we're talking about is not like, tell me all your employees, like draw out, you know, you've got 18 employees, draw out what everyone's doing. if you got 18 employees, that's where we start. Like, let's look at the structure and let's make it a duplicatable and growable structure where you're not the center brain, the main pivot point for the company, to where when your brain is removed, the company stops. That's the structure. But as a one-man show, as a 3-person operation, as a husband and wife team, what does structure look like and how do we do that? The question that I hear, I'm a one-man show, why do I need to figure out my structure? And the goal is I need to see the blueprints before I pour a foundation. I need to know the structure I'm building before I can lay a foundation for it. If it's a single ranch home that's going to go 8,000 square feet and it's just going very far, that's a different foundation that you're pouring than a 7-story duplex that you need an elevator shaft in the middle of, right? Like, there's a big difference of foundation depending on the structure that we're building. And so what structure are we building? How are your hires going to go? Who's doing what? What's your job in a year from now? What's your first hire going to be doing? What's your second and third hire going to be doing? Are you hiring labor, or are we doing all 1099 subcontractors? Like, there's so many decisions on structure that you, in your head, like, I mean, I'll probably hire some handyman guys in the next year because once I get enough work that I can keep them busy, and I'll probably have a accountant because I don't know anything about QuickBooks and I don't want to learn, so I'm going to hire that part out. Like, guys have an idea of what they want, but they don't know why and the smartest way to do that. And so that's part of what we do in coaching too, is like, let's lay out the structure that it should be. Let me show you like every hire to duplication, and let's start building it around your company, right? So we always start, if you're a sole entrepreneur, a solo entrepreneur by yourself, what question I want you to ask, that's getting into the job roles. For the structure and you're by yourself and you're a one-man show, I want you to look at, all right, what am I doing, and what's my first, second, and third hire, and what in 3 years from now should the structure of this company look like? And we're going to start heading in that direction. This is the last thing we do before we move into number 2, which is job roles. Because in job roles, we start defining within that structure who's doing what and what you're not doing, right? So structure, vision, where we're going, structure, who's going to get there with me? How are we going to get there? What does it look like on the journey getting there? And then we go into step number 2, job roles.
Job roles.
Got it.
So
job roles, James. How do you, like, coaching a guy, getting into it, where do you start with someone who comes in, one-man show? What do you mean job roles? It's me. I do the jobs. Like, I do everything. Like, what do you do coaching-wise with that person?
Well, I would go back to the org chart and say, what's the 1-year plan? If there's no hires in that plan, great. If there is, great. Maybe we look at 3-year, but essentially breaking your job out into those actual jobs and say, okay, these are my roles as the G, or I'll do it like I'm going to be the GM, and then I have a project manager side of me, and I have an admin side of me. And maybe that's how you start. Yeah. And you break those out into 3 different job roles. And you're still doing all 3, but at least on your calendar, maybe you have different colors that are associated with those job roles. And you can map out your calendar to say, this is how I'm going to spend my week. And that's where I would start. Yeah. You have to know this is one job role and this is a completely different job role. And in doing that, you're actually laying out, you're playing the game before you actually have to play it. Yeah. You're like, okay, does this work? Yeah. Oh, this actually didn't work. I really need to think about this. What does the handoff look like between estimator to project manager? And then once they go on site, do they have to hand it back, or are we working together on that? Yep. How do I do this? Because it's just me right now, but when I have other people involved, what does that actually look like? Because that's where the balls get dropped, and that's where the leads get missed.
Well, and that's where you become not a person hiring a project manager, but you're hiring an assistant, because I'm still doing all the jobs. Just go and take 5 hours off my plate by doing this part of my job for me and then come report back to me.
And don't ask questions, just do what I say.
Yeah. But I think you're 100% right. Like, I want to lay out.
Thank God.
Well, in what you just said, we look at the next step on the operating system, which is core process documentation. Core process documentation is, how do we get an intake, desk estimate, put some numbers together, get on site, do a revision, talk to the client, sell them, do a client engagement agreement, get final revisions, convert it to a quote, start pre-construction. All of those steps are such defined interactions that we have, right? So my GM is looking, doing or my head of construction is doing the intake and the desk estimate, passing to the project manager is going on site, who's then going to have the admin file this paperwork. Like, there to define your core processes and who's doing what and how it's working. Go back up the 7 steps. I got to have where we're going, the org chart of who's doing what, the job roles of it, and then I can define what job roles are doing what. Right? And this feels very overwhelming. It's not. You sit down and say, okay, I'm going to journal for the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to have on my yellow pad on the front page is going to be everything I'm doing. What am I doing? Is this a project manager job, or is this my head of construction where I'm in the office helping manage it? Is this me as an owner of the company making a decision? I went to the bank to start a new bank account. That's an owner GM role. Okay, cool. That's
I got a $100 Visa gift card to drop off to a client. That could be anybody's job. You could but who do you want to do it?
We've had all of our job roles do that. We've had the GM step in, we've had the project manager step in, and we got to a point where our office manager was writing letters and sending thank you notes, and that was part of the process. And so when the job was done, the PM hands it to the office manager and says, "Hey, is this a client that loves us and we need some reviews? Is this a client that we screwed stuff up and we need to send them hey, we know it was tough. Thanks for bearing with us. We hope blah, 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 blah." There's different sorts of that sort of communication, but who's doing it and why, right? And how do we make it duplicatable? Again, it feels like wasted time. You're investing that time into next year, into when you are going to make that hire, when you're in that spot. So planning this stuff out doesn't have to be done for success today. It has to be done for success tomorrow. And until you start laying out these job roles, it doesn't help. Or there's no growth. You can't hire. You can't start going that direction. Secondarily, if you are a partnership, employees, spouse, if you've got people on staff already, and when we talk employees, I'm usually meaning non-labor guys. I'm meaning project managers, admin, office, that sort of level employee. We really need to start defining the roles. So what I want, if you're in that, if you got a partnership, I want everyone to lay out what they're doing and who's doing what has to be done in the company. I want every task on one person's plate. Because what I hear a lot from guys is, well, James and I are partners. He does more the admin and office. He's he's kind of accountant brain, and I'm more run the crews and make sure things happen on site. Okay, that's a good beginning of division of responsibilities. What happens when there's a return and we need a receipt for that? Who's dealing with that? Well, it kind of depends if James has it or if I have it, and then that's happening. What happens if a crew doesn't get paid? And is James cutting the checks? Well, no, I'm walking around the job site cutting checks. So he's not doing all the financial and the admin, right? No, I mean, I'm cutting checks and I'm doing... And so it starts getting real muddy the more we dive into who's doing what. Mm-hmm. So what I want is, I don't want a crew to be calling both me and James. I'm in charge of I'm the project manager here. James is going to be the head of construction general manager, and I'm in charge of these things. And as soon as one of these things pops into James's plate and he tries to step into it, I got full authority to say, "Hey, James, that's my job. Why did you feel like you need to step into that? Because I feel like that's on me. Sorry, Clark, I was just trying to help. It seemed like you were overwhelmed."
Really good impression of me.
Hey, guys.
Really good impression.
Hey, guys. Is that better? Your high-pitched voice.
Hey, guys. I really feel like you're stepping on my toes.
But again, it's if I know what you're doing, what I'm doing, there's no argument or like, "Oh, I'm stressed because James keeps doing this and it's bothering me." And like, no, it's black and white, and there is what we're each doing, and do we need to put this on someone else's plate because it doesn't work? Also, with that, we have an exercise, I guess you can say, when I have partners that come into this, or I have parents and kids that are running a company together type stuff. What I want is everyone to sit down, write out everything they're doing on a page, task oriented. I don't want big picture marketing. I'm doing I kind of do this, and I do all the marketing for the company. No, I post on Instagram twice a week. I manage our Facebook page, and then I come into I do all our Google ads, right? Like, define what you're doing task wise for the company, and then we sit down as a team and say, okay, that should stay on your job. Market green. You are going to stick doing that. Those 3 things, the marketing, you're great at it. That's going to be on your plate. turn those green. Ooh, this task, I think you should do this, but I think by the end of this year, it should be on my plate, or we should hire for that. So make that yellow. You're going to continue doing it, but it's going to fall off your plate this year. The game plan is that will not be part of your job January next year. Red is you're going to stop doing this immediately. Why are you emptying the trash cans? We have a cleaner that comes in. Well, I just like to have whatever it is. That's a dumb example. But like this task,
I'm glad you said it.
why are you in charge of following up on estimates when I'm the one sending the estimates? Right? That type of task. Like, well, because Clark, you forget doing it. Well, let's use the software in the next client contact. Let's set up when we're going to follow up with stuff, and that should be on me. So immediately, yours is red, and we're going to move it to mine. It's going to be green on my list. And so we're going to build job roles by sorting out everything that we're doing. And should that be on your plate? Should that be on my plate? Should we hire for that at some point? Is that going to get to my plate once I get totally out of the field? Like laying out, keep doing, stop doing, or transition this year out of doing. And green, yellow, red, and color coding it will really help you start laying out the job roles within the company. You're doing everything. Like there's stuff that will be added in the future that you're probably not doing, like paid ads or something like that. But everything you're currently doing is a job of somebody, and you're wearing multiple hats. So you've got 7 hats on. What hat is that job role going into? Make sense?
Totally.
If you've got employees, your job is to make sure that every employee knows what they are responsible for and what defines success and failure in every task on their job description. It's one thing that we've missed the mark on growing our companies is we give someone a job description, and a year later their job is totally morphed into something else, and we haven't revisited it. And so one thing I'd like you to do, especially with a growing company, is every 6 months, pull out the job description that you were given or that you gave to someone and say, hey, what am I doing? What am I not doing on this? What is success and failure? Clarity is kindness with your employees, and letting them know exactly what pass fail is allows them to feel comfortable with the job they're doing. So let's lay out their job description. Say, hey, we kind of hired you for this and you were really good at this, so we moved you kind of this way. Let's redefine this job role. Let's set it up. Let's set new goals, new targets. You're doing commercial a lot heavier now than you were when we started. And that's a different job role. Really being clear on who's doing what as you're bringing in employees. Every person in the company has to have that defined job description, including yourself. So it's not like, okay, this is what my project manager's doing, this is what my admin's doing, and I'm going to handle everything else. I need you to have a written job description so you stop stepping on people's toes, because you're the boss and everyone's not going to say anything to you, but you are the one driving them away and making a bad company culture because you keep stepping on toes. So job descriptions for everybody. We're accountable to it. We hold each other on it. That's it. Those are our first 2 steps. Vision and structure, job description. Final thoughts on those, James?
Oh, man. No.
I mean, here's the truth of it. Those 2 things, when you're looking at the 7, are things that should and could be done in the next 3 weeks, right? Like you can do it by the end of next month. It can be done. Step 1 and 2, check the boxes. We're done. Let's move on to step 3. This is just time management and willpower to sit down and do this stuff. And it can be done quickly. Like the vision and structure could be done in an hour. Like just sit down and do it. The job roles, let's sort it out. Let's make sure it's good. Over the next couple of weeks, let's write it down and start separating into different hats. The more time you spend on it, the better it is. And let's get that defined. Now, we said this last week, but part of this is we go through the 6 steps. The 7th step is duplication. But every single step kind of grows in stages. So after we get through job roles, core process documentation, we're doing marketing, we got the HR playbook, we've got financial metrics that we're doing, all of that stuff that we go through, we then loop back. Is our vision the same next year? Have we kind of changed course? Do we need to redefine that vision? Our org chart's grown a little bit differently than we thought. So let's go to level 2 on that. What does the structure actually look like now that we're into this a year and a half?
And is it a positive change? Do we need to revisit
Yes.
our vision and double down and
Yep.
redo some things, or do we need to edit it because it's going in the right direction and we need to change our vision because of that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. We're constantly revisiting that level 2, and then level 2 on your core processes. There's 3 levels of core processes. So level 2 is more product quality. How are we getting the crews trained better? How are we making our product even better? It's the financial metrics in level 2 on core processes, which we'll cover next week. But it's the how are we looking and capturing every dollar to where we have a dashboard of finances to make decisions about.
It's like you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Yeah.
And so you have to go back and revisit and
Yep.
and look at it from this new lens you
Yeah.
have. You have a new perspective.
That's part of the beauty of the annual retreat that we do in January, because every time you come back, we switch it up every year, but if we did the same retreat every single year, it'd be a totally different experience, because I've now kind of gone through matured level 1, and now I'm going through level 2, and it's a different experience because I haven't even thought about this stuff because I didn't even realize I was there yet. As you go through the levels, marketing in level 2 is a lot different because we're getting into paid stuff as opposed to just making sure your Google My Business is set up for level 1, right? And so as we go through these, you kind of go all the way through them and you start over. And now let's redefine this and let's go through it. And so it's a constant growth of the company. Coca-Cola is still doing this, right? Like every single year, what are we doing differently? What's our new strategy? How do we change things?
Are polar bears played out?
Yes.
Are we still repping Santa?
It's every single company that is smart and that has growth and that is successful does this, has an operating system. Ours is just built around construction, and ours is built around the way that we coach and model that is a proven system to work. You've got an operating system. It's just, it's not written, it's not defined, and there's probably a large amount of holes in it. So our goal is to team up with you, give you the structure, and then we build together your body around the skeleton that we give you. So yeah, if you want that, if you want to talk to us, go to prostruct360.com, go to contractorcuts.com. We've got some openings. We're about to start our foundations program. We do that kind of quarterly where guys can come into foundations. It's kind of getting all of our paperwork, getting going. And the goal for us on foundations is to get you up into coaching one day when you're ready for it, when we get you to the next level, once you get some of the basics locked in. If you want to get into coaching, let us know that too. If you're thinking about hiring someone right now and you're nervous, you don't know how to do it, this is the time before hiring them to get into coaching, and let us give you the structure, the paperwork, the processes, make sure that everything in your foundation looks good before going forward.
Yeah, because hiring somebody, everybody is burning cash.
Yep.
Because you bring somebody in and then you build them their room.
Yeah.
And we want you to have their room set up, their dresser where it needs to be.
Yep.
Everything needs to be set up for somebody to come in and take off, because that's going to be affecting your bottom line.
Yeah. Figuring out how to run a P-trap for a sink is what you do when you're getting started. Like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to Google some stuff. I'm going to look at YouTube. I'm going to figure out how to do this thing. You can't do that with hiring. Mm-hmm. That's $100,000 mistake that you're making by figuring out hiring from, I think I know it. I'm just going to hire someone and they're going to help me out. That is going to cost you 6 figures. I promise you. We've done it. We had a board, like 64 different times we've hired the wrong person and had to fire them or they've quit or left.
It's always going to be a gamble.
Yeah.
But there are ways to make a better bet.
Yep. Increasing the odds of success. If we can get you to 90%, this is going to be successful. There's 10% that's a gamble. But most guys are going 50-50. I'm going to flip a coin and I hope it works. And if this guy has good systems in his brain, he can run my company the way he wants to run it. Versus I need to teach this guy our systems and processes, our the job role that he has to do now and how he's doing it. And that's the successful way. So if you want that, if you're looking at hiring, if you're looking at starting a company, if you've been doing this for 2 years or 20 years, we pick up where you're at. And so if you want to team up with us, we'd love to have that conversation. I like to do a 30-minute intro call first, hear about your company, tell you about us, see if we're a good fit. And we're not here to talk people into coaching. If it's a right fit for you and it's going to be helpful, let's do it. So hop on a call, prostruct360.com, hit a contact us, and we love to talk. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.